أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I begin, as I always begin, in the name of Allah, whose grace I seek in this and all other matters. Just a reminder that as I slowly make my way through the 99 names, my objective, my goal was to examine the divine feminine, the Jamal. Going through all the 99 names, some of them to me seem like very clearly Jamal names, and some of them seem very clearly Jalal names. But the fascinating thing is that I'm finding that some of them have features of both within them, which is no surprise because Allah is the combination of the Jamal and the Jalal. So today I want to share about al-Ba'ith. And I want to tell a little backstory. Converting to Islam in the early part of the 1970s, while I was an undergraduate, I immersed myself in basically the convert community among other African Americans. And we created what you call, sort of the living ummah, in that, most of us did not have extended family that were Muslim, so, we became family to each other. And also in that process of transition, we shared a lot about the experience, and we, encouraged each other and supported each other during that process. So one of the things that happens when you convert, outside of a Muslim majority context is you wing it. There's a lot of things you just kind of like make your way through by whatever you understand to be the requirements of your transition to become Muslim. And amongst those things was the choosing of names. Now, it's pretty easy for me to just say that even though my birth name is related to an Arabic name in the Quran, my birth name was Mary, after the mother of Jesus, or Isa, upon him be peace. And I could just have easily have just sort of Arabized that name, which is actually what my first husband did. He was named David, also after, a biblical figure. And he became Dawood, until he died, and changed his name legally. I didn't want to take that name. So instead, I made an analogy between Amina, the mother of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the name that my father had given me as a Methodist minister, who basically named all of us something related to the Bible. So I had a sacred name in that sense, at least from the Abrahamic tradition, but it wasn't the name that I wanted to go forward with. I have a daughter named Miriam now, but I didn't want to have that as my name. And for the last name, I used a book with the 99 names that many of my cohorts would also use to choose their names. So, Al-Latif, I have lots of friends who became Latifa, so we would work with those names. And I didn't like the ring to Waduda. So I didn't choose that as my first name, which was going to be feminized by the feminine ending in Arabic. I, however, did choose that for my last name. One of my friends, for their family name, she and her husband, they chose the name Abdul Ba'ith. And Ba'ith is the one who raises up from the dead. And I just thought, wow, why would you choose that? And they were like, well, my wording would be, it's like a zikr. It's like a reminder, it's like a reminder that, to Allah we all return, and that you need to, live your life with an awareness of this life and the next, to be conscious and, to remember the afterlife. I have a female friend who also chose the name Qiyama from the Yom El Qiyama, the day of the bringing back, or the resurrection, or the raising up, So different people have different motivations. So that's the thing I wanted to say in terms of like a little antidote, thinking about this term al-ba'id, and also to return back to the theme of the Jamal and the Jalal. I can see both the masculine and feminine in this term, because one of the features for me of understanding a term as being Jamal is that it is relational. And one of the features, therefore, in contradistinction to that for the Jalal, is that it's sort of like unilateral. So I could see the unilateral in this, in that it is a law that, raises us. But I can also see the relational, because it's us to be raised. And the whole idea of the inevitability of the return. You're dead, and then you're raised, and then you do the return. So the whole idea of this being raised, to me, is a very interesting aspect of the divine mission. I don't know if I should say something that was really on my mind when I was thinking about this one, and that is that I no longer believe in a literal heaven and hell. That's a whole nother discussion. So if you're interested, you can write a comment down below, and I will try to share with you the evolution of my thought. Nevertheless, the emphasis in the Quran on the matter of what we call eschatology, what happens after we leave this human body in death. The emphasis on it is quite powerful in the Quran, and some of the classical Mufassirun exegetes indicate that, especially during the Meccan period, when the Prophet was still in Mecca receiving revelation for the first 13 years of his mission, that it was not a common feature of the pre-Islamic religious systems, ideologies, and theologies. The whole idea, the Quran will even word it, when we're dead, we're going to come back. We're going to, like the whole idea of that was not only foreign to them, but also in some ways inconceivable. So the Quran, speaking to that audience in particular, had to place more emphasis on it to, get them to understand. And with regard to my own location, I simply say there are consequences for what you do and what you believe. And so the raising up was something on my mind to share with you with regard to this effort to go kind of make my way slowly through all 99 names. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Assalamu alaikum.